God bless everyone.
The Four Leaf Clover podcast is sponsored by Planet Celtic.
Good evening, ladies.
Howdy, folks.
Howdy. What a few days it's been in the Celtic world and the SPFL in general, and we will get into it. We haven't been with you since our post-match show at the weekend, but geez, Scottish football, doesn't he half hit you in the face sometimes, lads? Andy?
Soccer, not football, it's soccer.
At the locker rooms, Andrew. I'll see you in the locker room, Andrew.
Aye.
Oh, what a few days, Andy. Unbelievable.
With the disappointment at Easter Road, and then it just the implosion happened. They were on a high. This big investment is coming for the 69ers. And the Panda boys turn up at the Crumble Dome and absolutely embarrass them. And things are, I know we're going to get into it, but, they've brought in the Staunch Brigade. They'd be as well just flinging 4 pairs of fucking brogues in there, mate. That's, they're the same job, give the same effect. And then the hoops last night, we'll get out of that game and all. That was a strange one. Strange, it's probably the weirdest 5-1 victory I think I've ever witnessed in my life.
Aye, it was mad, mate. It was totally mad. It could have been anything, that result last night, but we were clinical and we will get into it. So, Jerry, we haven't seen ourselves or yourself even since the post-match show as well, mate. How's your past couple of days been? It's been a strange couple of days in the world of Scottish football as ever.
Aye, just working my way as normal. We're all doing Wednesday, nearly the weekend again. Only decent thing in the news, well, you're obviously different with their Scott, but we're actually getting up in the morning to be a bit better light now. In the morning, it makes a massive difference. Gives you a better buzz even at night time, 6:30, a bit lighter down here. Walking along the beach, beautiful night. But you still get that rain, to be fair. So well, Scottish football's mad as normal, innit? In mental.
Aye, it's been absolutely crazy. Paddy, we're kind of reeling for the VAR decision, and we thought that was going to be the massive talking point this week. We had it, planned for this evening, but Willie Collum and Alan Muir haven't got their story straight yet. And we'll hopefully touch on that on Friday night for you, ladies and gentlemen. But Paddy, what a surreal couple of days yet again in Scottish football. The main man getting his backing off the chief exec only 5 or 6 days previously, and then he's at the door a few days later. You can't write it sometimes.
Not with that lot anyway, Scott. You can't. They say a week's a long time in football. It certainly is when it comes to the SPFL this week anyway. If you go back to Saturday afternoon and in the events of what happened at Easter Road and stuff, but then just everything else just took over and just unbelievable. But unbelievable in one way, but not really surprising in another. They've shown consistently over the last number of years that they can't play when the pressure's on. They just can't. They can't produce a result. They're perfectly fine. Empty stadiums, COVID season with no fans and there's no pressure on them. But as soon as they get a whiff of a chance of doing something, their bottle just crashes. It's as simple as that. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know. I'll miss the big man. I will miss him. I'll miss his waffle after the games. I've said before, he was on a par with Pedro Caixinha. Anything that he came out with, Clement seemed to try to better it on many an occasion. So, and it was actually bordering on farce there at the finish. I know we'll talk about it later on, but it really was bordering on farce there recently. But it's just been a strange few days altogether. And, as I say, it was very, very... Saturday evening for me was really surreal because you kind of sort of got yourself ready for the fact that your lead was going to be cut to 10 points and you're sort of trying to say, well, that's not too bad. We're still leading by 10, you know what I mean? And then to 2 goals for St Mirren going in there, just turned the evening completely. And then you end up losing a game, but you end up increasing your lead by 1 more goal. You know what I mean? It was just a surreal weekend, and then the events of that the events of the days after have just taken over. But I'm like you, Scotty. I was waiting patiently to see if there would be any update on the goal that wasn't. There's probably still a few funny handshakes to be done before they come out with whatever the official version will look like. But I'll be waiting with bated breath to see what exactly they say and how they explain this one away.
Yeah, Willie Collum's normally really good at coming out and letting us know about all these sort of things. And as most of you know, I work night shift, so as soon as I woke up this afternoon, I was straight on YouTube on the SFA's page looking for that video review with Gordon Duncan, which mysteriously hasn't happened yet for some reason. So we're sort of 4 days in, and there's still no conclusive proof that full ball was over the line. I think we all know the answer to it, and they're just coming up with their excuses, as we all know. But hopefully, like I said, we will touch on it on Friday night once the video comes out. Another thing as well, we have a brand new signing at the podcast. We've recruited from America to, as Paddy said, we've got a new American commentator called Randy Tim, and he will be joining us later on in the show, giving us a little bit of commentary. So let's get on to last night. As Andy said, a very surreal performance. Aberdeen had their chances. They could have had 3 or 4 or 5 themselves, the way the game went. But what we've done at the podcast, because a mixed bag last night, Andy, from the boys, let's just get into the starting lineup first, my good man. I think the obvious one there was the omission of Greg Taylor, we didn't know until late in the afternoon. His wife actually went into labour. So good luck to the Taylors. Hopefully the baby is healthy, and he was the big one missing from the squad entirely. I don't think he would have started, Andy, due to his recent form. I think Schlitt would have had that, but Brendan did confirm that he was in the squad. But barring that, mate, something that yourself, Paddy and Jerry alluded to for the Easter Road game is that we wanted a full team out there. And I think Brendan certainly learned his lesson from Easter Road, didn't he?
Oh, it was a team at the only performance in Munich, wasn't it? And he changed it up for Easter Road, and it didn't quite work out. They got hooked at half time. 3 particular players changing it up, and we did play better in the second half in that game. So it was good to see that, that is our strongest team, but I likes it. So I was pleased to see that. I do like that attacking lineup for Celtic. No offence to Bagida, I think he's come on to a game recently, but he still looks that desperate by me in his own when he does go on, when he does play, that sometimes he just kind of snatches at anything. He still looks desperate to score any time he's on. It doesn't quite work out for him. I'm still not 100% convinced that he's actually. I know he is, technically, he's a Brendan Rodgers type of player now, that kind of physicality, big guy, but I'm just not 100% convinced with either. So I think that's definitely our strongest lineup. And you look at Maida, who's the top scorer. What is he, 24, 25 now goals?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he's assists now. A guy that's played the majority of the season on the wing, scored that many goals, and he's proven that when he's moved into the middle, he's absolutely lethal. Whether it's for the left wing, the right wing, he pops up while other players right in the right place, and his finishing has really improved. And that's obviously with the numbers. That's you can't deny that with Maida. So, happy enough with that lineup before the game started.
Yeah, bang on, mate. Absolutely bang on. So, Jerry, like I said, my good man, yourself and Paddy were hoping for the strongest starting lineup to go at Easter Road. It wasn't to be the case, and we found out, we learnt our lesson from that by the looks of things last night.
Aye, that team was spot on last night, Scott, so it was. For me anyway, and that's the team we were all shouting for at Easter Road, to be fair. Joe, listen, the thing is, there's last night we're talking about we'd missed chances, Aberdeen had missed chances. But there's one thing you talk about football. See, when you get pace, you're going to cause problems all the time. See, they know with that pace, how quick we're getting from the one end of the park to the other end. But Aberdeen had a couple of chances, and all of a sudden we're up the park in seconds. Yes, I'll tell you, Jota looks like he's not been away, doesn't he? He's just slotted straight back in there. So as if he's not even been away. As Andy says about Meader, if you actually watch Meader, he's very intelligent and you think he is. He gets onto the same end of the balls, the crosses every time, Andy. The desire to get to that ball for him is brilliant. I mean, I know we're shouting, but he's looking good for player of the year, and the way he's gone, he's a great season, Meader. Work rate, desire, everything. Hopefully gets a good luck to him. But I think that was a spot-on team. To be fair, last night's squad, I think we're looking for the strongest teams now, every game now, right to the end of the year. So
Yeah, bang on, man, bang on. And Paddy, we only need 5 victories now, and that is another league trophy in the bag. And it's teams like that are going to get us there, mate, innit?
Absolutely, Scott. And now that we're no longer involved in Europe, we can dispense with this chopping and changing the team. You've got to go with your strongest team. It's as simple as that. We've said it before. I can understand in certain periods where you maybe want to give guys a run or rotate the squad, but see, from now to the end of the season, it should be the strongest team starts the game. Go out there, get the performance in, get the results secured, and then make your changes. Because it's proven over this last while it's been troublesome for them. That last night was the team that I would have picked myself. I would have gone for that team myself. Great to see we made it through the middle again, and especially with the trickery and the skill of Jota on one side and the speed of Kuhn on the other, and then the finishing of Maida. We're such a dangerous team, and as Jerry said, where we're getting great success at the minute is a transition. So when teams do show a wee bit of determination and come out and attack us, and it breaks down for them and it leaves us in their half of the field, we're very, very dangerous, and that's where we're getting a lot of joy at the minute. It's not even necessarily on the break. It's not a total break. It's just like on the transition. So if teams start giving the ball away in or around the halfway line against us with that speed and that trickery going forward, we're going to cause major, major problems. But no, I was happy enough with the team last night. Delighted to see the team that finished the game start the match last night.
Yeah, and one of the things, Andy, that I think we should be utilising now from now to the end of the season, because we are so far ahead, and if we can get 3-4 goal leads, is bringing young guys through, like what happened last night. Young Jude Bonner, absolutely fantastic to see. I know you're a massive advocate for it, Andy, in getting these youngsters coming through. It just shows you, this lad was in the same primary school team as Rocco Vata. He's came through that Hamilton side of things, where the new Rangers manager and his brother and his nephew came through. So it's quite a hotbed of talent that have came through that sort of area, the Hamilton area. And it was great to see the young guy getting on last night, wasn't it? And great to see him with his family and stuff after the game as well.
Aye, definitely. Young 19-year-old. I don't know if you saw Slaney's blog or vlog for Munich. Very, very funny. But he's actually got his man there in that as well. So he was in the squad for that game, Easter Road, and then he gets on the park there and make his debut at Celtic Park. Always good to see, but I think we've seen that a few times with the youngsters there the last couple of years, and then you either never see them again or they're off-ski. So it's very hard to have a proper look at a player in it when he's not on the park for very long. Doesn't really have much effect on the game as such, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's hard to tell, to give a real opinion on her. Not that my opinion counts. I mean, the most opinion is that Brendan Rodgers rates him as a player. So it's always good to see that young players getting an opportunity. That's what we want. That's what the academy's for. We've not seen enough of it. We spend a lot of money on it. We're investing in it again. So as much as we want to see really talented players coming through, I think it's important to remember your roots and continue our tradition of bringing through players and getting them into the first team and making them superstars. For us, ultimately, no just have them a couple of years or like say when since they're 8-year-old, and then when they come to kind of adult age, they're away down the road somewhere. We've put all the development in, and they just saunter out the door. So I think if we can keep a hold of our most talented young players, then we've got a better chance of actually giving them an opportunity. But they don't seem to hang about long enough to fight for a place, to be honest with you. I think a lot of them think that they're on the bench and they automatically should be putting Arnie Engels out the team, or Hattati, or whoever it may be. It doesn't work like that, you need to earn your place. So, but still good to see. And sorry, before we move on, if you it's really funny, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Where he shouts the guy in, Slaney shouts the guy in, the thing, mate, what's his name that played with Celtic? Lewis Tosney. He takes his pipe off and they're standing, dancing, bouncing about, and the wee guy walks away. He sings a wee song, walks away, man. He's like, that's a Polish. It was a Polish guy with the police heel on the back of his jumper. Oh, brilliant, man.
It was top class. I actually retweeted it onto my Twitter page, so if anybody's not seen it, please go and watch it. The open goals, Slaney goes to the Allianz Arena, and he just goes up to a random couple in the airport, and it's actually young Bonner's mum and dad. Mm-hmm. And he meets him outside the stadium and everything. It's obviously not planned at all, and it's just mental. And they were so proud that he was on the bench. They told him, in the airport, that he was on the bench, and they were hoping to get on, but obviously, you're not going to bring a young boy on, and how tight the game was out there. But it's definitely a cracking laugh and worth a watch. So, Jerry, it was great to see the wee man, Jude Bonner, coming on. It's something I think we should utilise a bit more. I've been an advocate now. If Greg Taylor, if he wants to leave and he is leaving, I don't see the point in keeping him in the squad any longer. Just if you want to leave Celtic and you don't want to wear that jersey, then just go. And we can get these young left backs that are sitting in the club, maybe the third choice left back, sit them on the bench and utilise them for these last 20 minutes when we're 3-4-0 up, mate. This is the time to bring these young boys through. We've got such a big league in the league. Bring them through, mate. Give them 20 minutes. Give them the experience of Celtic Park. And, I'm all for that. And it was great to see the boy coming on, making his debut last night.
Aye, definitely. I think he was part of the Mull United, wasn't he? Mull United team. That was all right. Good, a lot of good players came out there, you're saying, then straight into the Celtic Academy. So, listen, he's been Celtic all his life. So he has. I think we seem to forget the hard work these boys put in, Scott, to get there where they are. Because what you got to remember is, it's not just him, it's the parents, the guardians, if they don't put the effort in, get them to these trainings, then half of them, they're all good players at that age. Some of them will break away because of hard work. Parents get away from their work, getting to training up to. There's a lot of hard work goes into this, and the parents last night seeing them go in that park. That's when it's all worth it. That last night, parents sitting there all proud. And Celtic's got to try and keep talking about it, but they've got to be good enough as well, haven't they? They've got to be good enough as well to get in there. Because Celtic's got a lot of good players and a good squad now. But listen, just happy for him and his family, because I know what kind of hard work goes into it, and it comes to just every day, not just you as a football player. It's so brilliant.
Yeah, it certainly was. And Jerry, we know, what young Billy Gilmer went through, with his mum and dad, what they done, what his father done, finishing his work, taking the boy up to training straight away and things like that. It is a lot that they put in, and that is good to see that come to fruition. So, Paddy, just touching on Jude Bonner, obviously we've not seen enough of him at the minute to make any sort of judgment. And we're not going to make a judgment on him, obviously. He's only 19-year-old and it was his first game. But just brilliant to see the boy coming through and getting his first team debut last night.
Brilliant, Scott. And it's it'll maybe silence some of the doubters that have been sort of, complaining recently that there's no pathway from the youth set up to the first team. We lost a number of young players there, but I put that down more to their agents and, the players having their head turned by the big money and available in England and stuff like that. I read recently where I think Daniel Kelly, I'm not sure what's happened since, but I read recently that Daniel Kelly has only played something like 2.5 matches for Millwall since he left Celtic. So, it's just good to see young Bonner coming in. So, and the one thing that young Bonner and his family have done is they've shown the patience that Brendan Rodgers has asked for. You know, and Brendan said, if you're patient and you're humble, you will get your chance. If you're good enough, you'll get your chance. It won't matter what age you are. If you're good enough, if you've been patient, if you do the right things, and I know from listening to some of the guys behind the scenes at work with him, Johnny Hayes is one, Darren O'Day's another one. They speak very highly of this young man. And you know, when people forget that, as Jerry said, it's not just about being a good footballer. You know, there's a certain profile needed to be a Celtic player. You have to have a certain profile, you know, and you have to, and that in that profile is made up of a whole lot of things. It's not just your ability to kick a football or run around a football pitch. It's how you behave yourself. It's how you talk. It's how you handle yourself. It's how you work and training every day. It's how you represent the club when you're away from the stadium and you're, you know, in your private life. And you know, you don't hear stories about this young lad. He's not out socializing and, you know, and doing stuff. He's obviously doing the right thing, and he's been well grounded by his family, and they've supported him well. And as I say, I'm just delighted that that he's got his opportunity, because that's all you'll get at this stage. You're not going to get, you know, you're not going to get a first team slot, and you're not going to get 20 games, you know, or anything like that there. You're just going to get a minute or two here and there, so that Brendan can look at you, so that the rest of the players can see you, and so that the crowd can take a look at you and see what you have to offer. And just give them a wee bit every so often, just so that we can see how the development's going. But that's the one thing that's great to see. It's great to see that this young lad has shown the patience that Brendan talked about recently. And that's what you need to have. You need to have that patience as a young player. If you're going to be a Celtic player, you need to fit that profile as well. And he clearly does that. The bits and pieces that we've seen of him last night, I thought he looked neat and tidy on the ball. Didn't give it away. Didn't seem to be unnerved by the big crowd or whatever, and that will do him the world of good. Going out there in front of a big crowd at Celtic Park when the team's already leading, a great circumstance for him to be involved in. So I'm just delighted for him and for his family. But as I say, I'm also delighted for the coaching staff and the guys that do the work behind the scenes, because it just shows you that there is a pathway there. We were being told there wasn't, but that show last night demonstrates that there clearly is. If you're good enough and you behave yourself and fit the profile, you will get your opportunity under Brendan.
Yeah, bang on, mate, bang on. So let's get into the game then, lads. We didn't have a post-match show last night, and we just had a quick look at the highlights along with everybody else. Like you said, a very strange game, really. It could have been 5-4, 6-5. It was just, I think we were just more clinical on the night. So what we'll do, lads, is the way we always do it. Let's just have a quick look at the first half first then, Andy. So 3-0 half-time, Dyson Maeda, sort of clearance for the Aberdeen defender, fell straight to him, a bit of a tap-in for him, but nice goal again. Jota sort of learnt his lesson from Easter Road at the weekend, where he was a little bit greedy. I thought he was going to do it again, but this time he learnt his lesson. He passed it to Engels, and a great ball from Engels back to him. A bit of a scuff, but it found the back of the onion bag. And then a rarity from Callum McGregor, his 50th league goal for Celtic. It actually came off his right foot and it was inside the box, which is a bit different for our Calmac. But 3-0 half-time, mate, what was your thoughts on the first half, Andy?
Actually, getting into, when I heard the half-time whistle, I was a bit in disbelief that we were actually 3-0 up. I think we could be quite easily 3-0 down in the first half as well, when you think of the chances against us. I thought we were very sloppy. The passing just wasn't together at all. We weren't reaching our players. We were getting caught on the ball. We looked half asleep at the back. If Aberdeen had been more clinical, that game could have turned out to be something a bit different than what it was. But who's going to complain? You're getting in it 3-0 at half time and the game's done, really. And as bad as the first half was, or no great, let's be honest with you. I mean, MD saying we had a good first half. Looking on paper, it looks a good first half, but I'm talking performance-wise. It certainly wasn't. But then you're hoping Celtic are going to come out in the second half and obviously improve, because Brendan must have went through them with a ton of bricks at half time, because that's the kind of standards he doesn't put up with. It's way off the mark. You're at home. You've just had a really disappointing defeat at Easter Road, this is the time to come out and put your performance in. It's just a pity that it took us into the second half before they actually started moving the ball a wee bit better and looked a bit better. But we're 3-0 up at half time. Effectively, the game's over. The 3 points are in the bag. So, you've got to be happy that overall, the season, I think we've been absolutely fantastic this season. So, it's not as if we've been on a kind of spiralling out of control with losses and draws and stuff like that. It's just not been like that at all. So, overall, we've been on the ball. I think maybe with this congested period over the last couple of months, there's been a lot of games played, and especially obviously European football as well. It takes its toll on the squad. Maybe we're looking at the squad now saying we're maybe not as quite as well equipped as what we thought we were. So maybe get into summer, we should look to that as also bringing in first team players, but strengthening the bench as well, for the backups that are coming on. But overall, I know this is a long-winded reply here. I apologize. I'll probably just everything out in the money, so you don't need to come back to me. But overall pleased with the 3 goals in the first half. Just a bit kind of baffled with the first half, to be honest with you.
It was a strange one, Jerry, wasn't it? We'll come back to Andy in 2 hours after he's just played out the full season for us. Jerry, first half, mate. As Andy said, Aberdeen had chances, mate, but Dyson Maeda, Jota and Kilmac put us 3-0 up. As Andy said, on paper, you're thinking, must be all Celtic. Celtic are destroying them, blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't the case, mate, was it?
No. Aberdeen started the game well, Scott. So they did. As Andy says, basically covered it all there anyway. We were slack. Everything we were doing was slack. So we were. But I think Aberdeen just shows you they've got to let their striker, the boy went away for 4 million, remember? Miovski. He's there last night. That's a difference, isn't it? If Aberdeen come on, St Johnson, they respect. You need a 25-goal striker. You got to, for your team to get some goals and stuff. You can play all the football you want, have chances, but they're not putting the ball away. Listen, you've seen it with Celtic early European years when we used to play teams and we'd miss our chances. Then the good teams just came to foot at the end, bang, bang, cut our chances. It's a bit like that, I thought. Aberdeen their chances. And as I said before, the pace, doesn't matter how bad we're playing. If you've got that kind of pace, Scott, anything can happen to pull out the bag. But we can't be too critical of Celtic, you know what I mean? So it's Celtic Park anyway. I mean, that's only 3 goals I've let in, isn't it? All season. So, what's that?
All against Aberdeen.
I think it's 48 goals for in it and 3 goals against. I mean, at him. So that just shows you the attacking pace. The first half was a bit like the Hibs game. I thought the first half was just a bit slacky. But second half's a different ball game. As you say, Rodgers must have got him in there and turned it around.
Aye, certainly, mate. Bang on again. And Paddy, it's one of the things we talk about at European level when teams are clinical. And as Jerry alluded to there, if they had a Miovski up front yesterday, it could have ended up 5-8, 6-5, something like that. They just did not take their chances at all, which for us, thankfully, was great to see. But 3-0 half-time, 3 good goals. And I liked that Jota actually squared the ball for once to Engels, who picked him out expertly after that. And 3-0 half-time.
And a lot of it was down to our own sloppiness, Scotty, to be fair. I know Aberdeen created 1 or 2 things, but we sort of played into their hands by being very, very sloppy. We even saw a very sloppy couple of minutes from Kasper Schmeichel, which is very, very unlike him as well. He gave 1 ball away in particular, and then he tried to ball out Big Trusty when it wasn't his fault. It was Schmeichel's fault. But it was a strange one because, to be 3-0 up, after that 35 minutes, whatever it was, and we said that we hadn't got anywhere near the levels. We'd showed a wee bit in fits and starts. Our front 3 looked very, very lively. The front 3 looked lively from the off. But from the midfield backwards, we looked a wee bit sloppy here and there, and the odd pass or two. I did take on board. Brendan said after the game, he said the pitch is not playing very well at the minute, which wasn't helping matters either. With the way we like to move the ball quickly and get it forward and stuff, but it just shows you with the front three that we have. Those three guys can just turn. They can turn a game just in a heartbeat. The first goal from Dyson Maida, unbelievable for a guy he was supposedly a winger. Like the actual sense of getting to an area where the ball's going to drop, he makes it look easy. It looks as though it just drops to him, but it doesn't. You can see if you watch the replay, you can see he's watching the ball dropping over, and he's the only one that reacts in there amongst the Aberdeen defence to see where that ball's going to drop, and he's made up his mind. He's going to make a connection on the volley. The second one, again, is brilliant play. Again, Nicholas Kuhn initially on the edge of his own box, picks out a lovely ball. And the run from Dyson Maida, you need to see it again. The diagonal run that Dyson Maida makes to take the defender away and open up an absolute chasm of space for Engels to break into. And Arnie doesn't take the best of touch, and it's not the best of ball back to Jota. But you know what? He sort of sclaffed it into the net, didn't he? I don't think he really made great contact with it. But listen, he stuck the ball in the net, and that's all that matters. But again, as I say, the work from Kuhn and the run from Dyson Maida, the awareness for Maida for the first goal, and the unselfish run to take away the defender and open up that space for Engels was just different class. And then the third goal, the icing on the cake there, just on for that wee golden spell that we had just before the break. Just great to see Callum again. I've been a big advocate all season long of we need to shoot more from the edge of the box. That's what we get into these positions, and we sometimes take the extra pass when you need to shoot. But it was just great to see Callum, again, just that far up the park, supporting the front players and sticking it away just when his chance came. So, I would imagine Aberdeen will go in at half time and they'll wonder how they were 3-0 down. They will probably just wonder. But then again, I think Jimmy Taylor said that after the game. When you're playing a team like Celtic at Celtic Park, and you've got the players that they have, especially the front three, when you can even include, if you want to include the front six, when you include Hatate, Engels, and McGregor in that, that's some amount of firepower going forward at the end of the seat or the other end of the stadium. If you're not defending that well, that's one thing, but boy, have we got players that can hit you on the break and hit you on the transition, and that's exactly what we done in the first half.
Certainly did, mate. Absolutely. So moving on then, Andy, to the second half. A lot different. Like you said, I think Brendan gave them that rocket up the arse that they needed. We went on again to get a goal through Yang and Maida again. But pretty shocking defending, really, for Aberdeen to get that goal that Jerry was talking about. I think if we hadn't conceded, that would have been 10 games in a row at Celtic Park that we hadn't conceded a goal. Just very slack from Liam Scales, sort of got caught on his toes. Trusty, a couple of dodgy moments as well, mate. I thought last night as well. Just give us your overall thoughts, Andy, on that second half, my good man.
I think overall Trusty was poor. Why was CCV taking off? Did he have a knock or something? No. Because I thought if MD was going to get hooked, it'd be Trusty for Scales. But obviously Scales was still on the park. Trusty was still on the park. Scales comes in. And that boy I actually nearly scored before that as well. It's a good player, him. What's his name again? I forgot.
Morris.
Shaden Morris.
Morris. Aye, Morris. I've been impressed with him when he's played against us before. Doesn't seem to start a lot of games right enough, but he's quite effective. So I got out once with him, and the second man scored. And Scales, actually, when you look at the game, the goal again, he's way off him. He's way out of position. And then he tries to get back. He just can't get back. And actually, just as the boy pulls the trigger, or just before it, Scales actually has got his two hands fully extended out as if he's going to just fucking push him around the box and get a penalty away. And I'm like, what are you doing? By the way, Casper getting beat at the near post. I know. I don't think he had a great night either. He was a bit out of it. Losing a goal with that, it was pretty poor defending overall. You can find the keeper in there for that as well, losing that goal at the near post. It was a pretty poor one to lose. But he's a bit of a threat, that Morris. But Big Scales there, and I put in the chat as well. Get Scales on. You know, I think he deserves a chance. I don't know what to do now. Get Big Rocky on or something else.
Aye, fucking hell. Stop putting stuff in the group chat, mate.
I know.
Jerry, second half, mate, we've seen 3 goals again, 2 for Celtic, 1 for Aberdeen. Pretty shocking defending from Big Scales, as Andy said, but to be fair to him, you know, he's not really had much game time, and that sort of showed how he was sort of caught on his toes, wasn't he? But, you know, second half performance, game finishes 5-1. What have we got to complain about, really?
No, listen, I thought we were in kind of, sometimes you look like we're playing in second gear, I thought, at times, in the second half. I mean, Engels, once again, great game. Man of the match. Do you say McGregor's 50 goals, Scott? Aye.
Yes.
That's him getting his ninth this season. So it is, mate. That was him getting his 9th as well last night for this season alone. So, listen, and Yang off the bench, I reckon, I know there's a lot of folks saying, do we keep him now? Do we loan him out? It's back to that again. He's showing signs again, but it seems to be always when he comes off that bench. We've talked about this many a times. It must, I bet you any money Yang's brilliant in training. I bet he's one of the players that just, and I bet you Rodgers is pulling his hair out his seat with him, because I could just imagine him being that trickery in training and nobody getting near him, Scott, then coming on the sub and doing that. But when he starts him, he lets Rodgers down when Rodgers starts him. So it's a hard one with Yang, because time's running out for him and you can't see what he has. And that goal last night, the passing up to that goal, that was different class, by the way. So it was.
Yeah.
And for the Aberdeen goal, I think Big Scales, just because he just came on his sub, I think he looked like he was running fucking 6 foot of Trico at one point. He was running back the line. Very slow looking. But second half, listen, 5-1. As I say, we can't do, I think that's 14 wins. Was it 13 wins at him? We got 14, 1 draw, 48 goals, 3 against. Listen, can't be too critical. Just a performance the first half, but second half I thought brilliant.
Aye. And I think our James has been looking at our notes here, Paddy. We're going to bring that up. So 100th appearance as well for Alistair Johnson. It's good to see that we're signing the left-back equivalent in the summer as well. He's been absolutely brilliant for us, Paddy, isn't he? And just touch on that second half as well, my good man.
He's been different class, Scotty, since the day he walked into the building. You know, his first involvement in a game against Rangers at Ibrox. Not an easy environment to go in there from the start, but the guy's just oozes quality, and he's just getting better and better. I still think there's a bit of a development in him yet as well, and I'm sure Brendan agrees. You know, we can still develop him and make him into a better player, even better player, but he's just been different class for us. And you know, we're at the stage now where we're a different team when Alistair Johnson's not playing. We're absolutely a different team when he's not playing. You maybe couldn't have said that, you know, 6 months ago or a year ago, but you can see it now. The influence he has on the team, the understanding he has, especially with Nicholas Kuhn or whoever happens to play on the right-hand side, he's just a quality player, just an absolutely quality player. Canadian international, still his best years ahead of him, you know, and he's just loving it. The thing I like about him is he's another one of these players who maybe didn't know an awful lot about Celtic before he came to the club, but he certainly gets it. He gets the supporters, he gets the love of the club, and he knows exactly what it's all about. So he's just a fantastic player, and already it just shows you how much we've been enjoying him, that he's played 100 games already. It just seems like yesterday since we signed him, and there he is. He's made 100 appearances already, but fantastic player, wonderful attitude, wonderful commitment, you know, just everything that you'd want in a player. And for me, a potential future Celtic captain, without a shadow of a doubt, depending on how it goes. The second half, you know, I feel a bit sorry for some of them. You know, Trusty in particular wasn't great. I think Schmeichel was a bit off too. I think last night that you know, I think in the second half especially, you know, there was 1 or 2 times where, because we were leading 3-0, players were taking that wee extra touch on the ball and dwelling on it too long. I think that's what happened to Trusty a few times. Austin Trusty is, you know, his strong point is get the ball down and move it quickly and get it out from the defence. He's like anybody else. He's a big, slow, awkward defender sometimes when he has to start turning and, And I think that's what the problem was. I think we got a bit complacent there, maybe at 3-0, and we were trying to play perfect football and lovely silky stuff. And as I say, it resulted in some of the defenders maybe taking too many touches and stuff like that. So, but it's easy to be critical of them. They've been very, very good so far. But I wanted to give a wee special word to Yang. I thought Yang was terrific when he came on. I thought he was fantastic. The guy's attitude is just, as Jerry said, for a guy that's not getting an awful lot of opportunities, his attitude is just first class. Like, you can see when he comes on, he's just chomping at the bit, to get down there. And his run, his combination with Luke McCann for his own goal, he took his goal really well, slammed it down into the bottom corner, and his involvement then for the fifth goal, unbelievable. What a run and what a pass! Like, anybody that you haven't maybe watched it closely again, just watch the pass with the outside of his right boot that completely takes the Aberdeen defence out of play, opens up the space for Alistair Johnson to drive it across for Maida. So absolutely brilliant from Yang there. So you know what? I wouldn't want to see him going on loan now. There was a time where maybe we would, but I still maintain there's a player in there. We just need to get it out of him. Jerry says that there are some players who are maybe better coming off the bench. We had that with Sead Haksabanovic. Remember him? Like, he seemed to be very impressive any time he came off the bench, but when he started, he looked like a different player. So maybe Yang's going to be one of these guys that that he's maybe his best impact is going to be coming on, on in the game when the other team are tired or whatever. But I, for one, think there's definitely a player in there, and I like him. I think he's a quality player. And there was similarities even in his body movement last night. There was a lot of similarities for me in his body movement to Son from Spurs, who's also South Korean. Just very, very similar, even just in the way he moves and stuff like that there. So listen, I think if we give this lad a bit of time and allow Brendan to develop and work with him, I think we'll get a player out of him. Schmeichel will be disappointed with the goal. So will Liam Scales. We were very, very sloppy there. There's no way that guy should have got past Scales, and there was no way then that he should have been beating Schmeichel at his near post. But listen, it is what it is. It was just a one sort of blemish on a whole night. But again, a special word for my man Arnie Engels. I've been saying it all season long. The guy's quality. He's just oozes quality. He's just, everything he does, his movement, his passing. He's the only thing that Arnie. See, if he could add about half a dozen or 8 goals in the season till his game, we'd be talking genuinely world class there. If he could just add a few goals to his game, but do you know what? That will come. That'll come through time. Brendan will get to work on that. We've always had midfielders who can score from the midfield and break into the box. And you can see already in his game the running power, the passing ability and stuff like that. So the big man was absolutely outstanding last night, and I'm just delighted to see it because he had a wee sort of a spell after he settled in where he maybe wasn't great, but he's showing now exactly why we put that amount of money in him. Fantastic performance from him all night long. So listen, great performance all round. We take it all day long after what happened against Hibs on Saturday. 5-1 against Aberdeen. You can't complain. It was a wonderful result and wonderful goals. And good to see the fans going home happy.
Yeah, bang on, mate. Absolutely bang on. And I think Paddy has got a camera in here as well. He's been looking at my notes because the last thing I wanted to speak about, Andy, was this boy here. We can see,
oh, man,
we're bearing the fruits of his labour now, mate. He's turning into some player, isn't he?
He's turning into a player that we hoped he always would be, and there's plenty of development there as well. Obviously, working with Brendan, he's a young player. Arguably his best performance for Celtic maybe last night, certainly up there. And it was obviously he played in Munich as well, which is all right. He's came for German football, but no Champions League football. So that again is big experience for him as well to play in that competition for them all, I suppose. We've not been fantastic. We've not had too many performances in the Champions League in recent years. So again, throughout the whole squad, but him in particular, I think he's really grown. He's really grown this season, and there's only going to be even better to come because Brendan does that. He's that type of coach that does develop players and make them better. So he's certainly not going to get worse. He's going to get better. But I think it's important to, Calmack's not exactly at retirement age, but he's getting on a wee bit, and I think we need to look now that's going to work way Engels in the middle of the park. Hatate could possibly be away at the end of the season. I don't know. That could be an area of the park that we really need to bring some serious quality in, along with Engels to really bring him in. I'd like to see experienced players in there. I've got to be honest with you. Understand getting young talent in your whole system of bringing in young talent and selling them on for a profit, but I'd really like to see, especially if Cal Mack does gradually come out the team, then he's a most experienced player, most decorated player apart from Forrest. But Forrest obviously being injured. I think incidentally, just talking about Yang, that if Forrest wasn't injured, you just wonder how many minutes Yang would have got on the park, don't you? Would they have brought Forrest on instead of Yang in certain situations? But fair play to him, he's done well. But I think overall, Engels, possibly his best game last night.
Aye. People going on about my Brad Pitts here. I've got double Fs. Just leave me alone, okay? There's nothing I can do about it. Jerry, Paddy and Andy have had their say on Engels. So, I mean, just the boy has been incredible, hasn't he? We've got a few Randy Tims in the comments. I shouldn't have mentioned our new signing before we started here. They're getting terrible.
I've noticed that some of the comments, Scotty, it's getting right kind of what. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's happening.
People need to liberate themselves a little bit, I would say. Jerry, Arnie Engels, what a player.
Yes. About 21 years of age. Listen, he started well. Listen, a lot of players will do well the first few games, then things settle down. To catch him now, he's just starting to show again. Probably, we all talked about it, young boy moving to a different country. And listen, he's starting to show it now. He's not going to take players on and a dribbler, Jota. The guy's a midfielder who does simple stuff effectively, brilliantly. So he is good at set pieces, can pass the ball, never hides, shows up, shows for everything. Listen, he's stronger every week, so he is. And Andy's spot on. Last night was his best game, so it was. To me, listen, he's a cracking player. Simple. Take away the price tag a wee bit, because sometimes that puts a bit of pressure on the boy. For me, take that away, and I think he's done well. That's only 6 months he's been here, but so you can only get better, Scott. Hopefully, he's here for a good time. So it's a good long time here, because I think he's got everything. So he is.
Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. And hopefully he can break into that Belgian team as well and be a mainstay there. So Paddy's already had his wee say on Engels, so we'll move on quickly to the SPFL table. We went 16 points clear last night at the top of the table, which was great to see. Absolutely brilliant for the boys. SPFL fixtures this evening, looking good as well. Something that I seen Tam McManus talking about, lads, actually, was on PLZ Soccer. He was saying if you take sort of Celtic out of the league, you know, it's very, very tight between all these teams. We've got some cracking fixtures in our league tonight, which is great to see as well. And obviously, we wish the Ayrshire Killie all the best as well tonight. But
come on, the Soccer Squirrels.
What's that?
Come on, the Soccer Squirrels.
The Soccer Squirrels. Shall we go on to them now? Shall we do that now, Andy? Shall we have a wee...
Before you move on, Scotty, I just want to point out something about Tam McManus on PLZ. See, when they start the show, watch what he does, right? He sits and pure stares at the camera. It's like somebody getting a photo taken at a prom. Right, watch it. Just get back and watch it when we come after us. It's so funny, man.
Aye, I will do. In fact, fuck it. Let's just get right into them now while we're at it. Yes. So, as I said to you earlier on, we have got a new correspondent that has joined us from America, and his name is Randy Tim. And I wish I hadn't mentioned him because he's all been dirty buggers tonight on this bloody comment.
Sorry, Andy, would you keep playing there? Move Organ thing.
It's a move Organ that you like with a lighter.
Get the song going for this.
I'm trying to do my roll-ups, mate. Stop me doing it later.
Right, stop jumping in here. We've got Randy Tim making his big debut here, and he's all bloody spoiling it here. So anyway,
sorry.
Randy Tim went to Paisley for his, to Ibrox. It was his first outing for the podcast, and he was there, as Andy mentioned, watching the Paisley Pandas against the Rangers. So let's give Randy Tim his little debut on the podcast.
And here come the Saints in the forward advanced attacking quarter of the field. The Panda Guys forward soccer ball attacker simply brushes the Sad Bear defensive shield aside and fires the ball past the Sad Bear 69ers goaltender to make it 1-0. Egging the Paisley Panda Guys advance up the soccer field into the Sad Bear 69ers defensive quarter, and the ball attacker slots the ball beyond the Sad Bear ball blocker to make it 2-0 for the Paisley Panda Guys. More proof that when the Celtics drop points to the Edinburgh Harps, the Sad Bear 69ers shit their pants.
Oh, Randy, you're absolutely brilliant, mate. We also got him to do a little statement just after our Phil was sacked. So, Randy, back over to you, sir.
It's been confirmed that Sad Bear 69ers head coach Big Philly Silly Flip-Flop Clement has been sacked following defeat at the Super Crumble Dome to the Paisley Panda Guys. The Sad Bear 69ers now turn their attention to appointing a replacement to take over the locker room and try and rustle up the roster in the hope they don't fall even further behind the Celtics, as they are heading for another treble. This sacking has come after the Paisley Panda Guys penetrated the Sad Bears' defensive quarter, scoring 2 goal hits into the Sad Bears' soccer sack. Empty blue seats are all anyone could see at the Super Crumble Dome Arena. So it's a farewell to Big Philly Silly Waffler Clement. A sad day indeed, Coach. We will miss you.
Oh, Randy, what a guy! What a guy! And we've also done our own little montage to our Phil, who's sadly departed us, the Rangers. So we're going to play that for you now as well, lads.
Now it's only fair that I should let you know what you should know.
I'm absolutely delighted to present to you and welcome Philip Clement, the 19th permanent manager of Rangers Football Club.
A real gut-wrenching way to lose a cup final. What's the overriding emotion at full time?
We were the better team today. We were the team with the most chances.
I don't believe I've heard as much pish in all my life.
I'd like the club to explain why I've made it home and the manager's still in my job.
Get the fuck.
Here, Scott, I've worked against 5 Rangers managers, and every time Rangers were coming, every time, at some point. So for me, it's normal.
Unbelievable, man. What a man Phil was, wasn't he, Andy?
Going to miss him. We are going to, I think, listen, see if they think that things were bad under big flip-flop. Just wait to see, they see what Staunch Barry does. He will absolutely bury them.
Aye, bang on, mate. I mean, Jerry, barring the fabulous 3-3 draw that he got, that's a big thing that sticks out for me when they won the league, that 3 each game. Just some of his comments, mate. I thought Pedro was bad, but I think Phil's been the best I've heard yet.
Holy fuck, man. Try to do a straight face, mate. Every time I think of me, I think of Basil Fawlty, mate. Nothing about so I do. It's big Basil Fawlty, mate. Excuse after excuse, man. Honest. He wasn't sitting there arguing with a gaudy copy here. And you know what? Let's be honest, the media actually fell for some of the excuses to start with, but they did. But I'll tell you, see, for me, Ferguson, I'm just one for. He can go in there and just hang me players now. Ferguson can't talk to the players the way he gets spoke to. Yep. You know what I'm talking about? These guys will just go to the chairman now, or their agent. Barry Ferguson can go in there and start screaming and shouting to these guys, Scott. Different ball game now. And that's the same across all boards, football, working, joint, whatever you do in life now. You can't speak to people the way you used to get spoke to. If he thinks he's going to go in there and start shouting at folk, they don't happen to Neil Lennon the Hibs with somebody, one of the players. Yeah. Lennon no shout at one of the Hibs players, and they went to the agent, they went to the chairman.
Florian Camberry.
That's the old style management. You can't treat players like that now.
Yeah.
So that'll be the interesting bit, how he's going to bite his lip. You know what I mean? I just don't know how he's got to do that. Big Basil Fawlty was different class, mate. So he was. Fucking brilliant, man.
Paddy, he is. He was shambolic, mate, wasn't he, as a manager? I mean, the excuses. Imagine he was a Celtic manager and coming away with stuff like, but we had more shots. We get beat 1-0, but we had more shots on goal, and the 3 each. You know, the celebrations with the fans, just everything about him was just comedy gold, wasn't it, mate?
It was just bordering on farce at the finish there, Scott. And it was. I don't like to say it, but it was getting to a stage where it was becoming that laughable. You know, some of the stuff that he came out with after the games was just, you know, he was a sore loser. You know, as well, he was a sore loser. He never once gave any opposition team credit for what they did. Never once came out and gave them credit. You know, I saw them well beaten against other teams as well, Celtic. You know, and he never once he hadn't the the sense to come out and at least pay tribute to the other team when his team were well beaten. And then there's the other stuff as well, like jumping over the hoardings at Hampden to celebrate, you know, beating St Johnstone in a semi-final. You know, just, you know, and if you remember the 3 each draw, Ibrox going around the pitch, they thought that was it, job done. You know what I mean? Celtic have come here, they had to win the day, they didn't win. We're on the pigs' back. You know, and then they go out and lose the next 2 matches to Ross County and Dundee. Just crazy, you know. And you know what? There's, you know, I have a couple of mates, long-standing mates, who are actually genuine Rangers men from many years ago. You know, and there's times when you actually do feel sorry for them, because at the end of the day, the stuff that he's coming out with, you know, it's, in many ways he's insulting your intelligence. You know what I mean? He's insulting the intelligence of people who actually, you know, we're not experts by any manner of means, but we understand football, you know what I mean? And for me, like, definitely I will miss him, because definitely I remember being gutted to hear that Pedro Crisinho had gone, because I really enjoyed him as well. I thought he was quality. And Big Clement has been the best thing since Pedro. So I will miss him. I'll miss his waffle after the games. I'll miss his, you know, his constant excuses for this and excuses for that, you know, and stuff like that. But listen, it is what it is. But as Andy said, you know, the Rangers fans need to be careful what they wish for. You know, they've got rid of him now, but, you know, is it going to be a case of out of the frying pan into the fire?
Aye, let's see. And then there was talk of a takeover. Now they slag us off for flying the Irish flag at Celtic Park, but it wasn't long before they were out selling the stars and stripes, you know, and waving them about Ibrox on Sunday as well. So let's get a wee laugh about that as well.
The takeover's been confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's an impending takeover.
Sorry, Brian. Sorry. The takeover is not speculation. See the Celtic fans in the comments who are absolutely terrified of Rangers getting money. You're going to have to accept it, because the takeover's just about done. So just accept it.
Oh, well, that's us. If we accept it, lads. She's like
Andy, they could be taken over by a chic billionaire, the financial fair play, you know, about making money and all the rest of it. I think we sold a B-team player for more money than they sold 5 of their first-team players for, you know, a guy that couldn't even get in our first team. That's the levels that we're at. What are you thinking about this takeover? Just another smoke and mirrors?
Aye, I think so. And they're adamant it's going to happen. And that initially broke with Keith Jackson, the fucking truth talker, you know. The guy talks about all that shit. There's reasons why people don't buy newspapers anymore. It's because people like him write for it. Just grab any old nonsense. The thing is, there's no actual real kind of facts or figures or anything being spoke about here. Who's involved? Simply the 49ers, and it's not even going to be that. It's going to be, I think they might have some involvement, but what's in it for them? Which, you know, to invest a heavy amount in a Scottish football team doesn't make sense to me, right? Because obviously you've got financial fair play, you've got to balance the books within 3 years, or you get penalties, you know, you get point deductions, you get fines. Man City's gone through it, the new Chelsea went through it, they couldn't sign players. So I think the English one, I think there's different versions of it, but you've got UEFA, the English Premier League thing. I don't know what the Scottish one's like, but it's going to be the same. So it's not a case of just some mega rich guy coming in flinging money at it. Celtic's a perfect business model, and other football clubs need to watch what Celtic are doing, because this has been a long period of time that Celtic's kind of moulded this whole business model that we're not in debt. You know, we've got a healthy bank balance. We're doing it the right way. And it comes to the player trading model, not just that, Champions League money, get receipts. I mean, when you look at it, we've got 10,000 on them every season when it comes to season books. So there's an income right away before you even start with anything else. So how do they bridge that gap when it's impossible to do so? You can't go and fling money at something like that. You know, they're getting so excited. They're madness as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to lap it up and I'm going to enjoy it, because it's just it's a fable, mate, an absolute fable.
Aye, it's definitely smoke and mirrors for sure, Jerry. And like I said, if you think about it, we've not been on since the post-match, so it's like 3-4 days, mate, and look at all the stuff that's happened. You know, there's a takeover, then there's a manager sacking, then, you know, the four men who had a dream of came in, and it's a laughing stock after laughing stock with them across the city, isn't it?
Well, first and foremost, I think right now, all this has been happening with him in the last few years. How good was Fergus McCann for us, just to set it right up the right way in business? I mean, the man, he was only one never panicked during 6 in a row, 7 in a row, Rangers 8 in a row. He wasn't caring. The guy had patience because he seen the big picture, Scott. The guy had patience. We were all sitting there going, stop it. But listen, he was going, no, this is what we're doing, this is what we're buying, selling. And see, now that's us. 25 are still, that's us now. Run business, great club that way. Listen, he obviously had, nobody knows if this 49ers is true or no, but it just seems a bit strange where the only way they'll get money back a wee bit if Rangers get into the Champions League. That's the only way, where surely they must be looking at somebody in the English Championship. I know they'll get Leeds, but all these folk, when you get to that Premiership, you get your money back in one season that you've put in. So looking at that way, it's what you're getting for winning the SPL, £3 million. How many SPLs you going to win to get $100 million back? Yeah. So looking at things like that, I'm surprised these teams are not going for the champion. Obviously, I know they've got Leeds, but I'm talking about other championship teams down there. So to me, going for a Scottish club out with Celtic, it doesn't add up. I don't know how you can get money back in that kind of situation, but don't know if it's true or not. But the only time will tell.
Aye, I don't think it matters, Paddy. I mean, are you with Martin from the Rangers rabble, mate? Are you sitting there absolutely shitting your pants, mate, because it's happening?
Not in the slightest, Scotty. I still maintain to this day that that it's basically it's a story posted in the media.
Just I'm a wee bit delayed here. I've got it on the side of me here. 2 seconds. Big throwing into the box. Header do it. Oh, it's fucking froze.
Dear me, man.
Unbelievable. Watch it in my room. Right on my way to watch the rest of the Rangers game. Catch you later.
They need me on a takeover now, Paddy.
I think it's. I honestly do believe, Scotty. They're looking for a good news story. based on what's happened with all the negative stuff that's going on. And who better to come up with a good news story than the Scottish media? They've done it for years for them. They propped them up for years with this nonsense. You know, there's been absolutely no comment from anybody relating to the 49ers or any other club or any other business. There's been nobody made any statements. The one element of truth, believe it or not, that I've actually seen coming from us came from Dave King, where he actually made a statement to say that people shouldn't be jumping to conclusions at the minute. It's still very early on in the negotiations, and that came from Dave King, who's not exactly the most reliable of sources, but he's the one to me that has come out with the most accurate story so far. He actually cautioned the other day that people shouldn't be jumping to conclusions by what they've heard at the minute. He said there are negotiations, but they're at a very early stage. Keith Jackson had told us that they were a very advanced stage. But listen, these guys that make their money in big American sports, they're not about to come here and give somebody a blank check. That's not how those guys made their money. That's not how Fergus McCann made his money. Fergus McCann worked hard for his money, and he developed a business plan that would see us back on an even keel again within a few years. These guys are the same. These are hard-nosed businessmen. And, you know, it could be... Listen, Scott, you see, to get overall control of Rangers, to get overall control and get the majority shareholders paid off and all the rest, it could take upwards of maybe 150 million. And that's just to get the debt paid off and get the control of the club. So whoever's going to come in and be prepared to do that, and again, they're talking about, you know, it's a chance to maybe do something with a big Scottish club in Europe. Well, sure, is there not a far better opposition or better proposition just across the city? You know, we're in the Champions League. We're playing in the Champions League now, year in, year out. We're winning leagues. We're winning trophies. We're signing players. We're selling players.
Sorry, Paddy.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Sorry, Paddy. It's too long now.
Oh, it doesn't freeze. I think I'm a wee bit.
It is.
Fuck. Are we allowed to show it? Are we allowed to show us on this?
Aye, go for it, mate. Chuck it on. Sorry about that, Paddy.
No.
Well, the Kelly partners, the Kelly boys scored 2 goals.
Your Randy Tim will be loving this.
That's unreal, boys.
That's no right, man. They've sacked it, haven't they? The players have sacked it.
Brilliant. So we'll try and get off as quick as we can then, folks, so you can go and enjoy the show. But a couple of wee things then. We'll try and wrap it up for you then quickly so we can all get away and watch the game. We've got Barry Ferguson's... We've got leaked footage, actually, of Barry Ferguson's interview for the Rangers job. So we've got that for you here as well, ladies and gentlemen.
How many vowels are there in the English alphabet?
14. 12.
See, be fair to them, they're probably closer than my other said.
Oh.
4 lads having a nightmare. So I had a couple of things for you, but I'll wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen, so we can all get away and watch the laugh that's unfolding away in Ayrshire.
Always a belter.
Yeah. Was it?
Aye.
We'll catch it. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, a few folk have noticed it in the comments. I have got my bonnet on the day, and it is the 84th birthday today, ladies and gentlemen, of our saviour, Fergus McCann. Andy, just give us what you can on Fergus McCann, what he done for Celtic, what he means to you, what he means to us. Give us it, my man.
If it wasn't for Fergus McCann, we wouldn't be where we are now. You can't say enough good things about him. He put all his money into Celtic, all right, to get his money back, but I've made this point before. You go on about Rod Stewart, billionaire, you know.
Yeah.
Guy quite easily done that and not even noticed that it left his bank account. He's that much of a Celtic fan. Where was he? Where was he? Where was Big Billy? I know, you know. Or these mega star super Celtic fans with loads of money, and a wee guy for Kilsyth, Croy, who immigrated to Canada, went and made his money with, was it golf tours or something he was doing, wasn't it? Went and made a fortune and came out and put his, by the way, put £1 million in to Celtic and no guarantees of getting anything out of it. Yeah. So it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. I can't say enough nice things about him. It's just unfortunate that it was made to be a villain. He was made out to be a villain. He certainly wasn't. He had Celtic's best interests at heart. And this is why we are in this position now when it comes to dominance in Scottish football and financially well ahead of the pack. It's his shrewdness in running a business and treating Celtic as a business, because it had to be done at that time, because the people that were in charge at Celtic before ran it into the ground and absolutely didn't give a shit about anything but themselves. Certainly no the fans either. So he's a hero, an absolute hero, and happy birthday to him.
Aye, definitely. And Bill said, Andy, by the way, that was brilliant, mate. And Jerry, 84 years old. We talk about takeovers. It's been the talk this week about takeovers, things like that. But this man has showed everybody how to do it. You know, come in, rip it all up and start again. That's exactly what he done. And we're bearing the fruits of it now, mate. We're seeing what that man done, years later.
Yeah, you division, Scott. Andy says, brilliant hero. No, just a wee bit, I think, I just say we give him that day with the flag and we hanged a wee bit, booed him a wee bit, to be fair. I think we've got to change our attitude to that now and realised what he did. He did say what he was putting in and what he was going to take back out. I think maybe we expected him to maybe leave halfway what he was going to take and maybe help us again, but he done everything he says he was going to do, never lied, and he stuck to a plan. And now he's grateful for what he did. And because at that point, some folk were going to come in and take us to Cambuslang and stuff like that. No, he was up against a good Rangers team, by the way, and we were still building a stadium and everything else, and we still kept competing, try and win. But listen, God bless the wee guy, man. Thanks for him. Aye, brilliant.
Aye, absolutely sensational. And Paddy, I'll leave the last word to you, my good man. 84 years young today, Fergus McCann, our saviour.
Yeah.
Just give us it the way you always like to talk, mate. You're very eloquent in the way you speak. Give us it what you can on Fergus McCann, my good man.
Scotty, it's very simple. The Celtic Football Club that we all inherited from our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents before us, would have been no more had it not been for Fergus. Absolutely no doubt about that. We were less than 10 minutes away from having the rug pulled, completely honest, by the Bank of Scotland. That's how close we were. They were calling in their money. They were calling in their overdraft, which would have put us out of business. We would have been liquidated. But Fergus, he said that himself, that it would have been, to liquidate the Celtic Football Club would have been unthinkable. There's just no way that he could have done that to the supporters. And that would have probably been the safest option for him. He could probably have still got control of the club. He wouldn't have had to have paid off the debts, but he knew that the effect that would have had on the supporter base. He knew that was the end of the history. The history would come to an end. And so therefore he put up his own money. And it wasn't only Fergus. There were other men as well involved, a lot of gentlemen involved with them. I know personally quite a lot of them. They travelled all over Ireland. They were all over Ireland for 2 years before this, buying up shares from shareholders with the promise that they would get them back. They needed to build up the majority shareholder to get them in there. So absolutely no doubt in my mind that there would be no Celtic Football Club today if it wasn't for wee Fergus. And I still think it still doesn't sit well with me that there's not, the North Stand, the North Stand that dwarfs the landscape there. That North Stand should be named after Fergus. There's no doubt about that, because we were also dealing at that time with the Taylor report that came after Hillsborough and Heysel that meant teams had to have an all-seater stadium. So not only did Fergus have to try and revamp the business and revamp the team, we had a stadium to build as well. People forget that. And that's what I'm saying. We take that for granted now, the beautiful stadium that we sit in, week out. We sometimes maybe take that for granted. But there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, Fergus McCann is up there with Brother Walford, with Jock Stein, with Willie Mealy, with any of the other immortal Celtic, people in our history. There's no doubt about it that Fergus McCann is right up there with every single one of them. And I for one, will be forever indebted to him, because I would never ever have wanted to see Celtic go the way of certain other clubs, and we have Fergus McCann to thank for that. So I hope he enjoys his birthday. I hope he has many more, because he certainly saved us.
Aye, he certainly did. And God bless you, Fergus.
I think David, Paddy just touched on it. David Lowe put a lot of work into that as well. He was the one about trying to secure all the lot of shares that he put an awful lot of work into that as well on behalf of Fergus.
Aye, bang on. And as Lorna said, well said, Paddy, couldn't have said it better herself. Aye, absolutely brilliant, mate. As I knew you would finish it off perfectly for us. Aye, what a saviour. You know, we remember the 90s as old buggers and how terrible it actually was. And like you said, folk don't realise, you know, we had a stadium to fix up when others had that 5-star glorious stadium across the city and could bring in the England team and things like that. And we had to try and compete with things like that. You know, it was terrible, terrible, terrible times. But we are bearing the fruits of Fergus's labour now, for sure. And all the young ones amongst you are getting to see that. It certainly hasn't always been like that at Celtic, and it was due and thanks to the wee man himself. So enjoy your 84th birthday, St. Fergus McCann. Brilliant. So ladies and gentlemen, that is us this evening. We will be back with you on Friday night for our Friday Focus show at 7 p.m. UK time. Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you very much, Paddy. And thank you very much to our new American correspondent, Randy Tim, who I think a few of you have enjoyed this evening as well. So we'll see you on Friday night. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, which I think everybody will. And we will see you on Friday night. Cheers.
Hail, hail, guys.
Monosoccer Squirrels.